Person you want to ask a question of. Ms. Angeli is the IBDP coordinator at JVLR at the other campus, and Ms. Tiffany is the is the head of the college the University Guidance Counselling Department. Now, I'm sure you will have questions, and I think most of your questions will be answered during this morning's presentation. So please don't ask questions during the presentation. But when we finish the presentation, we will all be outside having a coffee, and you please come up to any of us with your questions. So we'll go through all the introductions at the end of the session, so you'll be reminded who the people are. If a question occurs to you, maybe write it down. You're reading Jeffrey Archer. Yeah, he was here last year.
But I was there just to accompany my sister.
Okay. Right, I want to say a quick word about JVLR. We are planning next year to start grade 11 at JVLR. We are an IB Diploma candidate school. JVLR is an IB Diploma candidate school, and as such, we cannot openly recruit students for JVLR. But our authorization will happen in December. So right now, we are recruiting students for the Oberoi International School. And after our accreditation, our authorization comes through in December, then we'll be able to look at campus placements. Okay? Now, okay, here's my slide. If you're a member of my school, you'll be shown that slide many, many, many times. If you're concerned, if your question is, how is Oberoi International School different? This is what we do. And I challenge you to come up with any of those things that is not important. All of them are really, really important. And those of you who are students, you're still on the road of developing each of these attributes to its fullest potential. And those of you who are parents, it's a pretty scary slide, isn't it? Because all of that stuff's important. And 20 years from now, all of these attributes will still be very, very important, except for one. Do you know which one it is? IB school, yeah. Now, my little boy's 31. I cannot remember what he got for IB. I know he did well. But he's a good man. He tries to do the right thing. He's a fun guy to be with. He makes people laugh. He's had the same girlfriend for 5 years. That's a record for him. Getting married in April. These are all the things that I find important. Okay, so if you come to this school, you have to be somebody who embraces the development of the whole schools in this country, in this city. There are many schools in the city that focus solely on one of these attributes, and that's the IB school. Right? We do not focus on producing great IB scores. We focus on producing great people who will make a difference in the world, who invariably get great IB scores. Okay, we get the scores, but our focus is on everything. Because if we turn out graduates who have a perfect IB 45 and nothing else, they've got nothing. Right? Okay. You guys missed the best bit. I'm finished now. It's the best part of the morning.
Sorry about that.
Okay, Tony, do you want to take over now, please?
As Neil says, we're a school that focuses on the balance and the holistic education. And I think it's really important to keep in mind what we hold precious in how we educate our children. We have a vision and we have a mission statement. Putting that up on the screen is great, but it doesn't show you what that looks like on a day-to-day basis. every child's educational and development needs are met. We stretch our students at the top end, we support them at the bottom end. We make sure that each individual is addressed as a learner and as part of our community. Within that community, we provide a safe and caring environment. It's not just the students that have a good experience of working here, but the teachers work hard to provide that safe and caring environment. One of the things that Neil has on the slide with all the red Comic Sans font is to produce global citizens. We give them opportunities to learn about the world immediately around them and well beyond that. We realise that for many of you, the goal at the end of 2 years of IB studies is to go to a university that may or may not be in India. And preparing you for that world is not just getting you the IB score that gets you in, but it's making sure that when you go to that university, you have the life skills to survive and excel at what you're studying. And to represent yourself, your family, and your school as being somewhere that's prepared you for this global world that is changing. We had a fabulous presentation this morning, a speech by a man called, I think it was Samya Chakrabarti, who came in to speak to our students. He's on the Forbes 30 of under 30s for India, and he is someone who came in and talked about the way the world is changing and the challenges that students who are coming into IB studies in the next year or two are going out into a world that's very different to the world that their parents went into. And we strongly believe that we're preparing them for a very different set of challenges as we move into the future. We provide an environment where understanding, compassion and acceptance of differences is really important. Because when they go out into the world, they've got to be able to do these things for themselves. And we empower them to make choices. We give them plenty of opportunities to lead. If a student has an idea, they bring it to us for a club or an event. We help them go through the process of looking at whether it's viable, whether it provides objectives that are suitable for what we as a community need, or what the outside community needs that they're going out into. And then we support them in developing those ideas. They have to make choices. They have to make choices about subjects. They have to make choices about which activities they engage in. They have to make choices about honesty and academics and academic honesty. And helping them and empowering them to make those choices with good information, good experiences, is key to what we do. And the most important thing about OIS is we are a community. We're a community of learners. I'm learning, Neil's learning, all of our teachers are learning, and our students are learning as a result of our learning. We hope that the parents are learning with us. We realise that for many of you, the education that we offer, the IB programme and this holistic education, may be very different to your experiences of school. And it requires a great deal of trust and teamwork to support your child through that. And there will be things that we do and that we allow your students to do that may stretch your understanding and your appreciation of what we're doing. Students who are changing from one curriculum into an IB curriculum, it can be a big challenge. We do our very best to support them with that, but we want you to be aware of the rigour of the programme and the change to DP studies, not just from MYP, but also from IGCSE or from CSE. It's hard, it's a big step. And those first few weeks and months of formative work and summatives can be a real challenge, getting grades back that you may not be used to. And I hope that you will be ready for that. We will support you with that as part of our community. Neil has said, we are two campuses, but we are one school. And we're hoping that by the start of the next academic year, we will have the DP program up and running with the authorization. I'm sure that you will have questions about the subject choices that will be available in both, but it's paramount that we go forward looking at the DP program for OGC for now. If you have any questions specific to JVLR, Anjali is here and we will be able to answer those questions at the end of the session. So I'm going to hand over now to Rucha, who's going to talk about the DP program.
I'm here to talk about the diploma program. A lot of the information that's on the slide is also on the prospectus that you're going to get. That is the diploma program and how it looks on IB. And that is how the learning looks at OIS. It is diploma students, it is an embodiment of the IB philosophy. We are looking at the student being the center of our learning and everything else coming to it. IB subject choices, IB grades, but everything else comes or boils down to the students learning from each other and learning together at OIS. In terms of the IB Diploma itself, the IB Diploma has 3 core components, EE, CAS, and TOK. These are the 3 components that set the diploma program as different from the other programs that are offered at grade 11 and 12 in the other curriculum. The students study 6 subjects for 2 years. 3 of them are studied at the higher level, 3 of them are studied at the standard level. So 6 subjects plus the 3 core components, and everything comes together to form the IB Diploma, or the experience of the IB Diploma. The subjects that are put up, every student is expected to pick up 1 subject from each group. So my presentation just shows you the different groups that we offer, or different subjects that we offer under the groups, and then you can take it forward. I'll talk about the IB core because this forms, or this is what makes the diploma program. I'll talk about the IB core first because this is something that sets the diploma program apart from the other curricula that is offered for students that are between 15 to 17. CAS is creativity, action, and service. It's a component which encourages students to think creatively about the learning that's happening outside their classroom and extend it to the community, the larger community. So it involves community service, it involves action, where they move beyond just being learners in the classroom into being students that are more balanced, being students that are physically active, and being students that are creative. And so the 3 components come together to form CAS. The other core component is the extended essay. The extended essay is a 4,000-word research paper that the IB Diploma students write, and it's a requirement for them to be eligible for the IB Diploma. It's done in a subject of their choice, and we offer a plethora of choices as you go on, but essentially it functions as, or it gives the IB students an edge over students in other curriculum because of the fact that they write this paper this early on. These are papers that universities would expect them to write at 3rd year of undergraduate or 4 years of, or in the 4th year of undergraduate. But the extended essay is something that they write early on in the DP. And the 3rd one is TOK, which is by far the most dynamic component of the core, which is, it questions what you know and it questions how you know everything you know and what it is that you actually know. And if you are a TOK student, that's something that is going to make you, it questions how and where you build up your knowledge from, where does it come from, it questions the idea of what is knowledge, it questions, so a lot of those classes are a lot of discussions about this. There is an assessment component that goes to it, but the purpose of the TOK is to get students to think and question everything that they know around them. Under Group 1, which is Studies in Language and Literature, we offer English A. It's offered both at the higher level and at the standard level. Group 2 is Language Acquisition. We offer 3 languages, Spanish, Hindi, and French, at both higher and standard level, and we also offer the ab initio courses for French and Spanish that are offered only at the standard level. Ab initio courses are for those students that are beginner courses, that are new to the language. The language B courses are for those students that have already been exposed to the language for a certain number of years and would like to continue with that language in their diploma program. Group 3 is individuals and societies, and we offer 6 options under it: history, business management, economics, psychology, global politics, and ESS. ESS is an interdisciplinary one, so it appears in the science as well. But essentially, a little bit about the courses, or a line about each of the courses. History talks about, or history looks more than just, it's different from the history that you might have been used to studying previously, where here it's a lot of source analysis, it's a lot of looking at the world around you, and not just the history that has happened in the past. Business management essentially looks at how businesses work, as well as the different components that come together to form a business. Economics looks at larger industries and looks at how entire economies of the world work. Psychology is different from the psychology that's offered at undergrad, which means you're not experimenting on anybody in school. And I need you to know this. The psychology course is just a course where we allow you to conduct one experiment, but it's under like conditions and things like that. But more importantly, the psychology course is just reading up a lot of research, and if you're interested in and knowing how the brain works, how people work, how behavior works, and things like that. The global politics course is a course that is not to do just with political science, but it's a course that explores the idea of power in politics and how the world works. If you're someone who is interested in current affairs, and you are someone who's interested in how power plays between countries and economies, and that is something that the global politics course would offer. The environmental systems and societies course is again not an extension of environmental studies. It is a lot more than just that. The environment plays a factor in it, but the course looks at systems. So whether it is systems in terms of organizational systems, whether it's in terms of thematic systems, it looks at systems and societies and how they function, with a focus on their effect on the environment. Again, we offer 6 courses. ESS features here as well. IB allows ESS to be an interdisciplinary course, and so you could choose it under a group 3 component or a group 4 component. Physics, chemistry, biology, a lot of you would be familiar with that. I'm not going to go into those details. I will look at design tech and computer science. Design tech is a course that looks at the idea, or looks at studying designing. It is not designing a particular product, so it's not fashion designing. At the same time, it's not designing just one thing. It looks at you study the idea of design itself, how minds work in terms of designs, and then you have different components where you could apply this to. Computer science is to do with computers, like the name suggests, but it is a course that goes more in depth into coding and goes more in depth into hardware as well as softwares of computers. Math. IB revamped its math curriculum last year, and the new math course is now split into mathematics, application and interpretation, and mathematics analysis and approaches. Applications and interpretations, like the name suggests, looks more at taking mathematical concepts, but looking at how they can be applied further, or interpreting mathematical data that you see around you, statistical data that you see around you. The mathematics analysis and approaches course is more pure mathematics. You are breaking down the maths that you see in terms of subjects in that course. So depending on what you would like to do in the future, IB has revamped its math courses to suit the needs of kids, because the previous math courses were limiting in the sense that kids were studying things that they may or may not need, and therefore the new math curriculum makes a change there. Under the arts, we offer 3: visual art, theatre, and music. All the 3 of our courses are offered at HL as well as SL. With theatre, it's not just performance, it's a lot of theory and performance. With visual art, it is again a combination of not just producing artworks, but a combination of art theories and art movements around the world, along with producing artwork. And the music course follows similar lines as well, which is, it's not just about creating pieces of music, it's a combination of musical theory as well as creation of music. That's a graduating class of 2019. It's a lot of kids. These are our results. We had 107 students that took the IB diploma and IB courses, out of which 101 applied for the entire IB diploma. We had 6 students that did the IB courses. A success ratio is 98.01. You can read the rest. Essentially, all I want to say is that our school average for all of our subjects was higher than the IB world average, and that should be enough for you to get convinced that while we're doing the big picture, we're also getting them the academic grades that they need or get. The last thing I want to talk about is, and something that I think Tiffany will continue on with as well, is the fact that when you graduate from Oberoi, you essentially graduate with 2 diplomas. One is the IB Diploma, and the other one is the OIS Diploma. Our school has been accredited by NIASC, which is the accrediting body for schools in the United States of America, and therefore, all our kids that graduate would have 2 diplomas with which they graduate. The classes for both of these diplomas are the same, but they essentially you have some students, and we say this for a lot of our kids as well, some students that choose not to go down the IB diploma route for different reasons. They're sports people, and therefore they don't want to do the 3HL, 3SL, I don't want to do core component combination. So we offer them the OIS diploma with IB courses as a combination with which they can graduate. Yes? It is widely accepted everywhere, especially in the US, and I don't think that's longer, as in that's valid any longer. It's widely accepted everywhere. US, Canada, Australia, UK, everywhere. And I move on to 15. Yes.
Just very quickly, nobody's asking you to decide on subjects today. If you reach the point of us making you an offer, then you will have access to the university counsellors and to Rucha and the team of leadership in the school to talk about subject choices.
The US diploma is what I have, right? And then NIASC accreditation is what my high school had. And I can go anywhere I want to with my diploma. That's the diploma that we protect when you come here. And most schools in Mumbai don't have that. They don't have the US diploma. And that's the thing that really makes us different, is we protect that diploma. So no matter what happens with IB, because we don't have a lot of control over that, because that's an external organization, we know that you will graduate with a US diploma. And with that US diploma, you can go anywhere for university. Does that make sense? Is that, yeah? Yeah? Okay. University counseling, I just started using reading glasses, and I think I have the right button, but you never know. We have a great program. There's 3 counselors with us. We each work with about 40 students in each grade level. We have plenty of time to work with students, to meet with parents, to do our job, really. We're not teaching on the side. We just do university counseling. We have separate social emotional counselors. We just do university counseling all day, every day. It's awesome. When I talk to other people at other schools, they're like, how many kids do you work with? I'm like, I don't even want to tell you. Because if you come in and say how many kids you work with, they could fire all 3 of us and just have 1 counselor for what we do. So don't underestimate how much time we have. We separate the kids according to their first name, so we work with kids no matter how long they're here, they have the same counselor. We don't move them around. We use Best Fit, which is what most counselors do. We don't really care about the name or the prestige or where your cousin went to school or whatever else. We're looking for your kid's best interest. And so we work really hard in grade 8, 9, 10, 11 to try to get to know who your kids are, so that we can help them choose a university where they will excel. There's no ego involved. I don't get a toaster oven if your kid goes to a certain university. I just want what's best for your kids. And one of the things that we're happiest about is that when our kids go to university, very few of them change, because they end up at the university that's a good fit for them. Some of these criteria really don't matter. I mean, weather for some kids doesn't matter. They'll just buy a coat. But if you have a kid that is a cricket player, well, then he or she probably wants to go somewhere that has nice weather so that they can play cricket outside. So for some of you, some of these criteria won't matter, but for some of you, they'll be really important. And that's what we work on with the kids. It's very tailor-made. Ivy League schools, you know, this is the thing that stresses, and I show these numbers, I think, to parents, and they're thinking, oh, looks like Ashoka or IIT. Like, this is what we're used to. These are the numbers that we're used to. Low percentages, right? About 10% get in. And we really sort of look at trying to get kids away from only knowing 10 or 15 names of universities and showing them that there's lots of universities out there. There's about 9,000 universities in the world. It doesn't have to be super stressful. It doesn't need to ruin your relationship with your parents. It doesn't need to ruin your last 2 years together. You know, we're really trying to get kids to understand that you will get a quality education no matter where you go to university, depending on you, not the university. We use something called CIALFO, which is the platform. It's a new platform. It's very international. I think they use about 43 different countries. So there's no pressure to go to the US or the UK. We have kids going lots of different places, Australia, Japan, the Middle East. So we had 3 girls go to Spain last year. They want siestas and whatever else. So really, we really are always looking for different places for our students to go. And CIALFO is a great way for us to track it. It has assessments on there so the kids can learn about their own learning styles. They can learn about possible career options. They can look and see using their what's the word that I want? Like their scores and what their chances are of getting into universities. It's a really great platform. So this is the thing that we use to track everything. And we are very comprehensive. So we help kids with standardized tests. We help them with their recommendation letters. We help them with their essays and their personal statements. So really, we're a full stop shop. Like, we do everything. Last year, we had over 350 universities come to visit. And these aren't universities that we're tracking down and begging to come to our school. It's quite the opposite. They know Oberoi kids, they know the reputation of the school, they know what we're doing, and so they come here to recruit Oberoi students. We also have an Indian university fair. About 10% of our kids stay in India, and that's increasing every year. I think as universities open up here and students are starting to realize that an international education doesn't mean that you have to go, that there's some great opportunities here in India. So this is the one that we did last year. The one this year will be November 13th. It is open to the public, so you are welcome to come. Just email me and I'll register you. The same sort of universities will come. We're hoping for a few more. But you know, we're not trying to get kids necessarily to leave India, because I do think there are some great opportunities here. And as more and more universities open up, then it won't be 10% acceptance rate, it'll be higher, so less stress. We have a career day in May. Last year, we have so many people come that I've actually had to redo the way that we do career day, because I'll ask for people to be on a panel, and I'm hoping for, say, 8 to 10 parents, and last year I got 43. That's a wonderful problem to have, let me tell you. And so we have career day every year. We have kids come in and meet with different professionals so that they can see some careers other than, you know, doctor, lawyer, engineer. This year I'm very excited because out of the 40 kids that I'm working with, I have three students looking at elementary education. So for me, that's pretty exciting. So yeah, career day is a big part of what we do. We have an internship program that we offer students in grades 10 and 11. Last year I had about 70 openings. We sent about 55 students out to do a 2-week internship over their summer. This is a new program. It's the first year that we ran it organized last year. So if you do become a parent, wait, because I'll hit you up to sponsor a student. So yeah, this is a great way, I think, for kids to sort of see what working in the real world is like, and whether or not. We teach the kids how to do this. You know, I don't give them a list of universities and say, here's where you should apply. We teach the kids the pros and cons of going to the US, the UK, Canada, Australia, staying here in India. We show them how to do the search themselves. We teach them how to use CIALFO. We have a discussion about which rankings that they should be looking at. None. And then we let kids decide where they want to apply. We're there to guide them, but we don't, you know, just sort of do it for them. To me, if they're not responsible enough to do this search on their own, save your money. Don't send them to university yet. They're not ready to go. It's not easy to find a picture of parents listening to a student. I had a really hard time finding this picture. But you know, kids are driving this decision. They're driving the car. You're in the back seat, you're paying for the gas, but really they're the ones who are in charge of this process. That's really big for the way that my office works. And the idea that you're here means that you're sort of open-minded, right? You're doing something a little funky, and you're going to have parents and siblings, aunts and uncles that are going to wonder why you're sending your kid to Oberoi International School. So I'm hoping that if you're open-minded enough to come here to even give us a shot, that you would be open-minded and trust me that the way that we do university counseling actually does work. These are some of the topics that we had for discussions last year. So we had different professionals come in from universities. Some of them we run in office. We also have a parents' book study, which meets once a month. Last month we talked about the future of education. This month we're talking about sleep. If you use the lift up here, I think you probably saw the flyer in the lift. After that we'll talk about communications, we talk about nutrition, because like Tony said, this is a different kind of parenting. And it's different than the way I was raised too. I didn't go to an IB school. So we're all kind of learning together. I have a 4.5-year-old. You can't possibly make more mistakes than I've made, so please don't worry. But we're in this together, and so we really do talk about what parenting in 2019 at Oberoi School is like. And we really try to make it less stressful. Again, there's 9,000 universities in the world. This doesn't have to be super stressful. Does it work? Everybody who wanted to go to college last year is going to college, right? So there's a lot of parents who have an empty room where they can turn it into a library or a yoga mat room or whatever it is that they want to do. We get a lot of scholarship money. Those are all merit-based scholarships, most of which are from the U.S. because the U.S. system is set up that way. These are some of the larger scholarships that our kids have gotten in the last couple of years. Big scholarships in Hong Kong, things like that. Our highest score last year, as Rucha said, was a 42. This is where that student was offered, and they had a $240,000 worth of scholarship offers. In the middle, so let's say a 36, this is where they got offers, and actually this person didn't get any scholarship money. 26, this is where she was offered, and she got $260,000 worth of scholarships. This is just to kind of tell you that really, it's not about the score, right? It's about the kids, and it's about finding universities that are a good fit for them. So if you're only going to look at the top 10 universities, yes, this is going to be really stressful. But if you can open yourself up and start looking at some other universities and help us guide you through that, then really this doesn't have to be so stressful. You can enjoy the last 2 years of kids. And that's my email address in case you guys have any questions. Thank you.
You've heard a lot about academics, you've heard a lot about university, but you've got 2 years left at school. And those 2 years left at school need to be a good 2 years at school. They need to be fun. They need to make you think in a different way. We would like you to learn with our faculty and to learn with our teachers about who you are and about what you want. You're going to do that in the classroom, but you're going to do that outside the classroom as well. So we're going to do things in a different way to perhaps the way that you've been doing things in the past. We're going to get you to go beyond looking at just what you've been doing in the classroom, because that is important, but it's also important that you get time to think about other things too. We would like you to really join all of the other students at school. We've got students that go all the way down to kindergarten, all the way up to our graduating class. We're all in the building together. We all share time together. We're going to get you to get onto this stage. We're going to get you to perform. We're going to get you to go and maybe explore a different side of your character. We would like you to see some other things about what it's like to be in the world. We're going to get you to really show yourselves. Today, you may have seen that we're hosting MUN. A fantastic opportunity for our students to really explore a different side of the world. Perhaps a side of the world where they can also make a difference. You will have come upstairs, hopefully. A little bit of exercise as you come up to the 7th floor. You've seen the swimming pool. All of the students in grades 11 and 12 are involved in academics, but they also need to stay healthy. They also need to stay active. You also need to stay fit. One of the programs we run is to make sure that the students have the opportunity to do that, to get into the pool. But also to think about what their choices are and how they are making safe and healthy choices so that they can enjoy their time here and also so they can be successful academically. Currently, our girls are playing in the final, and we're still waiting on the scores.
Really good.
Still no.
But representing OIS is a big part of what we are, and we would like you to be doing that for us. And so, if you have a passion for football, we would like to see you playing. We will also take you out of Mumbai and give you an opportunity to see a little bit more of the world. We have trips taking place all of the time. And we hope that all of the grade 11 students can come with us and we can explore a little bit of a different side of India. We will also get you to really think about what it is to be part of a wider community. We're not just here at school, we're part of a much bigger city. And there are different challenges in that city, and we need to make sure that we give our students the opportunity to find out about how they can make a difference. We have a big festival coming up, a big theatre festival. Students write their own plays, they perform their own plays. It's all student-led. As a deputy head, I spend a lot of my time meeting with students. And in those meetings, we're discussing the different activities that are student-led that they want to create. Dreamfest is one such activity. The students have decided that they want to put on productions, they write them, they organise it. That is how you can make sure that you really are learning a little bit about the sort of things, the sort of skills you need to be successful when you leave school. And of course, here at OIS, technology is how we learn. When we step out of the classroom, when we step into the world of work, we are going to be using technology. We need to know how to use that successfully and also how to use it safely. But of course, we also want to see you be creative. We want to see you explore a different side of the way you think. We hope all of the students will choose a Group 6 subject. We have many arts options, but many students don't have that opportunity, and so if they know that there's a certain course structure they need to get to university, then we encourage other ways to be creative outside of the classroom. But of course, the most important thing is that we are having fun and that we are enjoying studying. We are enjoying our time at school. Grade 11 and 12 can be quite stressful. There's a lot of pressures on students. If you can take the time to just step away from those pressures, just smile and have fun, that is going to mean that you are going to be a much more rounded individual. And so we give students lots of opportunities to be a little bit different. So we hope that from what you've seen today, you're thinking that you can be a little bit different, and this is the sort of school where you can come and you can make a difference with us. Thank you.
So that in a nutshell is who we are and what we're offering. I think the next stage this morning is to look at the actual process for the admissions. So the forms will go on sale from today. They'll be available outside. We will also be outside as a team. We will scatter ourselves around just in the lobby area, just outside the auditorium, so that you can approach any one of us with questions. Okay? Anjali is also there if you have questions that are specific to JVLR. I think one of the questions that I would anticipate is probably how many seats are going to be available. Here at OGC, last year we admitted around 20 students. Currently we have 116 students in grade 10, and we expect most of them to go into grade 11. Depending on that, there may be a few more seats becoming available if we have more departures, but historically the number of students leaving us has reduced over the last few years. Students who in previous years, going back 3-4 years, were being offered places at other schools, particularly Oberoi and Barney, they're choosing to stay here because they know that what we offer is different. They know that they're still going to get good exam results as well as all the other things that we offer. So it is going to be competitive, and the process of applications depends on the written tests, which is done on a format called Kalido. It's not an academic test, it's not a test of your ability in maths or English. It's looking at your holistic skills. The skill sets and the learner profile of the IB are quite unique, and we look at that alongside school reports and academic achievement alongside that. The follow-up to the Kalido testing would be an interview-style interaction with the team here. That would take place in school, and normally we would meet with the student for around 15 to 20 minutes to have a discussion about them, because it is about them, and then we involve the parents in the discussion as well. So that's the process that we go through. That, I think, is that. So if I can just reintroduce the team here before we move outside, so that you know if Mr. Barry.
There's the prospectus that's available for all parents. If they scan their QR code, if they scan that at all of those different sites outside, you'll be able to get the prospectus.
So there is Mr. Barry, if you have any questions for him. Tiffany, particularly for university counselling. Stuart and myself, Rucha, Anjali and Ms. Kunjal here, who is our assistant DP coordinator here, can answer any questions specific to OGC. Anjali is here to answer questions specific to JVLR. If we cannot answer them, we'll put you in her direction. And of course, Neil as well. Thank you very much for coming, and we hope that we can answer any questions outside.
Thank you.